Hey friends, Stephanie here again with another tutorial. I recently made a couple of these little daisy keychains and they were really a big hit, so I thought I would kind of break that down how I make it specifically. There's another tutorial out there which I can link below. I do it pretty much the same as that tutorial is done, but I do slightly do a little bit of modification with the micro cord in there. So what I have here is 1.5 feet of the dark green paracord. That's going to be kind of the leaf color, as I call it, that runs through the side, and then your bottom knot color. And then I also have 2.5 feet of a cord called Blue and Purple Spirals from Atwood Rope Manufacturing, and that would be the petal colors on the keychain there. I also have 2 wooden beads for the centers of the daisies. These are just from a random bag of beads that I was gifted. These actually have like a little bit of a purple hue to them, so I thought that that would look really cute amongst the blue and the purple spiral pattern there. And then I also have a scrap piece of cord, a micro cord in a royal blue. I really just try to find the closest color I can to match the petal color of the one I'm doing. I don't know how long this actually is, but really the keychain's only going to take up a few inches, so this is probably enough to actually do 2 keychains on, but we'll see. And then I also have a key ring. This one's a 1-inch diameter in the middle. If you measure it outer diameter, it's 1 1/8. Of course you can do smaller, but I tend to kind of stick to the larger ones. So to start off, I actually kind of get the petal, no, excuse me, the leaf cord together first. So I take the dark green at the middle, and I'm going to tie this micro cord around it at the middle point. This one's a little tricky to do, but I try to just do kind of a little slip knot on there. You might hear my cat in the background. I'm just kind of hoping that she doesn't photobomb the video today, but she sounds pretty wired, so she might do that. Honestly, this one I kind of just play with a little bit. I'm trying to get a couple wraps around the cord, but I'm just going to take this in pretty far. Since this is a scrap micro cord from something else that I was working on, so once I got done with it, I tied it in a couple knots, and then, or just one simple knot, and then put it in my scrap bag. So it's kind of not wanting to tie very well, but I'm kind of doing like a slip knot, because if I pull on that excess cord, it's going to cinch up. And just wrap it around one time, and then on the second wrap I'm coming closer to the end of the loop, wrapping it around a second time, and then I'm running it through both of those loops coming out. So I don't know what that would be called, maybe like a double slip knot, double overhand knot around the slack end. So as you try to cinch that up as tight as I can, and then I'm gonna butt that up right to the paracord, the 550, as close as I can on that. So if I was really trying to get 2 keychains out of this, I would have tried to tie it a lot better up toward the top of that, but for the sake of you watching me struggle with it, I just wanted to get it done. So with the micro cord, I tend to like to cut it with my Leatherman. Gives me just a little bit of a thinner blade and a cleaner cut. And then I singe the end of that blue just right to that base of the knot there. So we still have that one cord that comes out, get rid of that excess. So still at this point, I make sure it's still back in the center. So really if I pull that out, it's kind of off just a little bit. So I'm gonna see if I can pull that one way a little bit more. Might have done it too tight, but either way, I know I'm not going to run out. I've done this a few times, so now that we have that micro cord attached to approximately the middle, I'm going to take the cord that is going to be the petals color, find the middle of that as well. And on the key ring, we cow hitch this. So the middle of that cord goes through the key ring. And then the ends of the cord are going to go through that loop. My style tends to be very, very tight, so I spend a fair amount of time making sure I have things just as tight as I really want them. And again, we still meet about at the middle, at the bottom there. I often end up doing this kind of stuff where I tighten it up, and then I realize I'm not quite done. So I'm gonna pull a little bit more of that slack out. Sorry guys, kind of all over the place. And then we run the leaf color through that cow hitch. And I'm getting I want to get the middle where that micro cord is in the very middle of this cow hitch. So really if I pull that, or turn it around to the other side, I can pull that micro cord through there. And then I'll cinch this back up. So that way we have the micro in the center. That's what's going to be used to attach the beads onto the keychain. And then I'm also pulling that micro cord straight down. Sometimes it wants to kind of angle itself out the back. But as I'm tightening, just want to make sure that it stays pretty straight down the pattern here. So we're going to go with the right leaf color underneath the micro cord itself, just by itself. The other one is going to go over that micro cord. So just like this. Then I kind of hold that in place and I take the end of that leaf color and go through the loop on the right. And then the left one through the left side. So with the green on the right going first, as it went across the first side and then the left one comes over, I'm going to keep that continued pattern. So every time I'm layering those green cords, I'm going to do the right one first, just to keep the uniform pattern through there. I'm going to cinch all of that up. That green is what's going to tighten the braid up, so you kind of bring those petals together. And this is kind of just the locking knot or starting point of the daisy keychain. So really what we've just done is these two little petals here in that locking piece. Then, to continue on with the pattern, that petal color on the right is going to stay behind that leaf color in the back, and it's just going to do kind of a half cow hitch on this one side. Got a little bit of a weird twist in there, so I'm going to kind of work that out so it lays a little nicer. And I again get that pretty tight and butt that right up to the other knot that we just finished. And then I'm going to do the same to the other side. So again, that blue cord is staying on the back of that green, coming up and through the back. And butting that up to the knot on the left. So from here, we are still keeping the blue on the back side of that green cord. This time though, it's going kind of a lower loop here. And then we're bringing that end over the green and down through that loop there. So in a way, you're kind of making another cow hitch. And pushing that against the other knot. Then on the left, we do the same, still on the back side of that green, loop down below, and the end goes over the green and through that loop on the bottom created. This one feels a little loose, so I'm kind of just pushing that excess kind of this way through the side so I can pull some of that out. So that's what it should look like so far. Kind of two little cow hitches on both sides. Micro cord still in the middle. This is where we add on the first bead. The original tutorial I think actually uses a little bit smaller beads, but I have found this to work okay, so I'm just using up some materials that I have before I decide to go out and buy anything extra I don't need right now. And once we have that on there, we're actually going to do the same as what we did right up here, where we're crossing the grain on the right behind the microcord, the grain on the left over the microcord. And I just kind of hold right there where that micro is sandwiched together. And then you take that petal color on the right and run that through the loop on the right. And the one on the left through the loop on the left. Then you tighten everything up. This does take a fair amount of playing with to really cinch that together. And I always focus on trying to keep that microcord very straight, very firm in the center there, so that way the bead doesn't want to push forward or push back. As I'm tightening it though, most times it will do that naturally. And as I'm tightening it, these little leaves will kind of pull out as well. If they don't naturally come out, I just kind of use my fingertips a little bit to bring those out. Keep pulling the slack out of the blue from the back side. Keep cinching up the green from side to side. And keep pulling that micro in the center. So really, you could do a very small keychain and just doing this one daisy. And to finish that, you can kind of make just like a snake knot at the bottom here and maybe leave a little bit of tassels or something if you want. I'm going to go ahead and do a double one. And really with this kind of crossover and then that wrap through the loops or the core there, that's the same knot as right up here. So really to continue on to this second daisy, we're going to just keep on with the loops that we did earlier. So you don't have to repeat that one. We're just using that same one to continue on to the next one. So what we've created right here is the same as right there. So I'm just going to time-lapse the rest of this to the bottom of the second daisy, and I'll be back. Okay, so now we've got those two daisies done. Really we're done with the microcord. What I do differently from the original tutorial I found is I actually tie a little overhand knot right here at the base with the microcord, because like I said, I do everything very, very tight, and I'm always afraid that if I don't make a little knot here, that maybe that microcord's going to loosen up and those beads are going to pop off. And I don't really want that to happen. So I just make a pretty tiny knot as close to that as possible. This can kind of take a little bit of work as well, because as I pull on it to tighten up the beads, I don't want the knot to be like out here. I want it to be as flush to that as I can. Which looks like I'm gonna have it just a little bit further away from that than I wanted. But I am gonna tie one more knot at the base of this anyway, so it'll be locked into place there, but cut off the excess of the micro, and then I just singe that onto the knot nice and flush. And really I'm done with these blue petal colors as well, but I kind of wait until the end to cut those off. So at the bottom we make a little snake knot just like that. So I take the left cord and wrap that around and through the back, or around the back, just like that. And then the right one, this left side kind of makes a little X right here on my finger. So I'm actually going to take that right cord kind of under that X, over it, and back through the loop on the other side. And then again, a lot of tightening. Honestly, realizing right now I should have grabbed my marlin spike. And I didn't. And I'm just kind of pushing and pulling and twisting any excess out of that knot. And you will have a little bit of a piece of cord that will be a little bit longer on one side. So really, I think with the other one, I did it slightly different. So that little longer piece of the 550 cord, oh, goodness, you know, it sits a little bit lower on the left side here, whereas the one I did sits a little lower on the right side. It's the same knot, just depends on which cord you started with when you tied it. But I make sure the paracord itself will kind of move a little bit, but I don't want those beads to move a ton. Like, they will move a little. I just don't want the whole bead to be able to sit on top of it where you see like a lot of loose microcord in there. But now that I've got that snake knot tied, just kind of cinching up a little bit tighter on those blue cords. Make sure that through tying that knot, I didn't lose some of the tension in that braid. So I think it looks pretty good. Again, you can kind of cut little tassels here if you want like actual longer leaves. But I'm gonna just do my normal and cut them completely off. So I cut maybe a 1/4 inch from the bottom of that knot. And then I melt those cords down. I hold it for a while to kind of turn the sheath of the cord quite dark, where the core of the rope is not super white. And then while it's still hot, just kind of smooth that out at the end of my scissors. And of course, always be careful with the melted cord. I swear, I feel like every time I cut a new strand of cord, I singe both ends so that it's ready to be used, but I feel like melted cord is like magnetic to skin. No matter how hard I try, it seems like one of the cords will fall onto my face, on my skin somewhere. My head, hand, finger. And I try very hard to keep it out of the way, but somehow it just pops back up. And also when you are cutting this excess off and you're burning that, be cautious of where that flame is and where the paracord is itself, because you don't want to burn the other parts of the knot. And the cord will shrink as it's being melted, so that's why I cut just a little bit above the area that I want it to be flush to. And then it'll melt down and you can mold it into that area. So that would be the back there and those two burns. But there you have it. Cute little daisy keychain. My first one I did, I really loved. So I did a honeycomb pattern cord for the leaves and then a dark brown for the center with that dark green on the leaves, and it looks exactly like a sunflower. So you can kind of spice it up. Doesn't have to look like a daisy per se, but you can make it a sunflower too. Thanks guys for watching and hanging out with me today. Of course, I've got the rest of my videos are up on my channel. Right now, just one other tutorial and a few unboxing videos, but if you have found this to be helpful, I would love to see you subscribe. But have a fantastic weekend. Take care.